What's good, guys? So today I'm gonna go through the OCG metagame breakdown, and I know there's a big stigma around comparing the OCG to TCG, and I get it. They have Maxi, we don't. There's a lot of cards that are banned here that aren't banned there, but nonetheless, I am telling you, this is a fact that all of the top players always look at the OCG deck list just to get ideas, because ideas is what's important. The decks that seem to get really popular in the OCG eventually get popular in the TCG, no matter what, no matter if there's Maxi or not. Yes, if LP is banned, Dragon Link is not going to be as good in OCG. If Maxi is there, yes, some of the combo decks are going to be weaker, but that doesn't change that if a deck is tier 0, tier 1, it's still gonna see play here. So I'm gonna go through the metagame breakdown, and from here on out weekly, I'm gonna try to show you guys what you can take away, because you're not gonna be able to do like a one-to-one comparison, but there's definitely ideas that you can do. And right now in the OCG, a deck that we barely see in the TCG just because we don't have the Link Monster yet is dominating the OCG, called Brigade. And I'm sure you guys have seen it, but it's just not that good yet. But right now in the OCG, I would argue it's the only tier 1 deck, and everything under it is just trying to counter Brigade, and it's very hard to counter this deck. But right now in the OCG, you see Brigade, Virtual World, because they still have VFD, so you can't really take that into consideration that much. Prank Kids, which the interesting thing about Prank Kids is getting super popular. I would argue it's the second or third best deck right now when I'm recording this video in the TCG, and people, nothing changed about Prank Kids. Prank Kids have been out for, I would argue, like 6-8 months while like with the Link one, and nobody played it the way we're playing it now. The amount that people are playing it, it's seeing nonstop playing the invitationals, the LCSs. So it's very interesting to me that people just randomly picked it up and nothing's changed, but the deck is just inherently really strong. It's all one card starters, and everything around it is just whatever you want to, whatever hand traps you want to play, whatever trap cards you want to play. So I think it's really good. And then the other decks, Drytron is different. They also have the XYZ that's coming. I believe Lightning Overdrive comes out in the beginning of next month, and the big two cards to look out for is the Drytron XYZ and then the Brigade Link. I think those are going to be meta shifting for the TCG. Even though our Ben 10 is hit, I think Drytron has a chance. Brigade 100% has a chance. There's no way Brigade's not the strongest control deck. Revolt's just absurd. And then there's the other decks, Pure Zodiac, Orcus, Shadal, and then a bunch of other. OCG has always been kind of diverse, and especially now, because people want to test out all these new cards, there's going to be other decks, but just look, 25% Brigade, that's literally insane. I'll go through some of it. Look, 51 Brigade and 44 of them were Zodiac Brigade. I really do think the Zodiac version is the only way to play it. I think the other versions are literally just too weak. And then there's the other decks, Drytron, Virtual World, Prank Kid, Sky Striker. I'm not going to go into too much about like the Sky Striker decks or the Orcus, because we don't have Harpor, we don't have Engage. If we get those back, then yeah, we can talk about it. But what I really want to show is the deck list that they've been playing, because that's what's interesting. With the I'm gonna go through all the deck lists that we can learn from. With Brigades, every single one is playing the zoo cards, and in TCG, we took a different approach to the deck, and I don't know if that was the right approach. That's maybe why it didn't see so much success, because you could play it with the zoo cards right now, and I think it's slowly catching on recently. But before, everybody would play the Lyralisks. Even I was onto the Lyralisks. I thought the bird cards were really good. But honestly, the zoo cards are just better. The fact that Tenki can get you a zoo monster, and then zoo monster going second equals a Zeus, and a Zeus is literally insane. I think it's one of the best cards in the game. So yeah, Zoo, Brigade, that's the only way to play it. And yeah, you guys see Maxi, you guys see just like Effect Veiler, Ash. Effect Veiler is really good right now because of that it hits Brigade. So I think Veiler, Impermanence, those cards are definitely going to be coming back as we approach Lightning Overdrive. But yeah, Zodiac, Brigade, the only way to play the deck, I think. I I know a lot of people see OCG lists and they're just very turned off immediately because they see random one-offs. OCG sometimes does some questionable things, but sometimes a lot of people don't understand why they're doing it. Sometimes you'll see like a one random Nibiru in their decks and they're like, oh, they're just deck building incorrectly. But no, there's a reason why they play some interesting things like that, because they have cross-out designator and we don't have cross-out designator. Someday we'll have it, but you have to think the OC. It's not like the people playing these decks are dumb. They are putting thought into these decks, and I think it's a good idea that everybody looks into OCG deck lists, and you don't have to copy it card for card, if you want to change things around, if you don't agree with certain things, but it's all about getting the ideas out there because so many people are just don't want to look at OCG. They're like, oh, it's completely different. Oh, they play a completely different format, but the ideas are still there. We've always adopted ideas from OCG to TCG, and it works the other way around too. Remember Sky Striker Orcus? That never became popular in OCG until TCG played it, and then it became popular in OCG. So I'll get on with the other list too, but yeah, Revolt's an insane card. The Link Monster searches it. I'm gonna go as like the weeks go on. I'll definitely bring out lists with like the new Lightning Overdrive cards, and I'll talk about how good the set really is. And then Virtual World, we can't really talk about it because VFD is banned. I don't even want to waste my time with it. I hated this deck, and I can't believe OCG is still playing it. But yeah, and then the Prank Kid deck. The Prank Kid deck is the other deck I really want to talk about. That's been so popular in OCG, and it's just getting popular in TCG, even though nothing changed. And that's the thing that bothers me because we could have been playing this deck for mad long, and this is a control deck that is so it's weak to some hand traps, but if the one normal summon resolves, it's almost always game because you just have one normal summon resolving, and then every other card in your hand is usually just interrupts, like such as hand traps or just Tikabo or something like that. So I think Prank Kids is a really solid deck. It loses to hand traps like Skullmeister, Gamma, Ash, but honest and like it could play through every other hand trap. It could play through Nibiru. People just whenever I see Prank Kid players playing, they don't play around Nibiru for some reason. You don't need to pop off and do some crazy thing. All you have to do is set up your Regeki, and most decks struggle against a Regeki. So yeah, Prank Kids, I think it's a really solid deck. I think it's gonna stay really solid even in the next format. I don't think it's as good as Tri Brigade, but for all the people that haven't played this deck yet, just try it. It's so good. And then I'll get on with the other deck list. Drytron, this is different because they still have Ben 10 at 3. They could play weird cards. They could still play Natasha. I'm hoping that Drytron is still good because I really do think the deck is cool. Ritual cards are cool. I'm going to talk to my friends about it, the ones that actually play Drytron a lot, and they all swear that this deck is still playable with the XYZ. They say it's tier 1. I don't know. I think it's going to definitely be a control deck. It's not going to be... It was always a control deck, but you're definitely not going for some crazy FTK or some combo that is just going to win you turn 1. But yeah, Drytron, I'll also get lists out for this. I really have to figure out how Drytrons should be built because we really can't take this approach to it. But Diviner and the XYZ are absurd. And then the other list, we can't take much into consideration with this. Sky Striker is literally a rogue deck in TCG ever since we lost Engage. But, and then, Pure Zoo. I want to definitely talk about this because Pure Zoo is really good in TCG into other combo decks. It's bad against trap decks, and if you play against trap decks, it's so hard for Pure Zoo to win. But I've been playing Pure Zoo, and I always hated it, but for some reason, it has a good match. It has like an average matchup all across the board, and I think that's the appeal of Zoo. You couldn't play as hand traps, a lot of tech cards, Forbidden Chalice, Cosmic, Impermanence. They're playing Mystic Mind, and the interesting thing is a lot of lists are playing Mystic Mind because Mystic Mind is such a good answer to the Tri Brigade field. But yeah, Pure Zoo is that one deck where it's just like it feels it's very average against everything, and sometimes at a long event at a YCS you just want, if you want to get to top cut, you just want to play the deck that's average all the time that never bricks, and I don't think Pure Zoo literally ever bricks. So I definitely do like this deck, and I think that's the last deck I want to cover because Orcus we can't until we get Harpour back. I think it's useless. The Alistair deck is weaker there than here. The Alistair deck is crazy here. Alistair deck is probably the second best deck, and then probably Prank Kids. But I really like Winda. Winda's broken. A lot of people are asking for it to be banned, so maybe it'll get banned. Who knows? But yeah, like the takeaways I want to give to you guys is literally look at these. This is Road to the King. Everybody has access to it. It's not like I'm on some secret spice. It literally drops every Thursday, and nobody checks this out. And it just gives you so many ideas. There's been so many times in the past where I've seen cool things in the OCG. I tried in the TCG, and I'll just top an event. So I definitely recommend just looking at it. I'm not saying copy it because, yes, different formats. But ideas are ideas. I never understood the argument, don't pay attention to the OCG, it's completely different. There's going to be some ideas that overlap, and that's what everybody should take away. Guys, let me know what you guys think. What you guys think about the OCG metagame breakdown. I'm going to keep doing this. Stay tuned for more and subscribe.